Welcome to yet another episode under the bi-monthly webinar series of Get More from Mallapuram. This is Mallapuram Rashikar, and this is our 27th episode which we are doing consistently, and we thank each of you in supporting us in continuing doing this webinar series. And just like any other series, the reason why we have been consistently doing this webinar series is to provide clarity such that you will have confidence in whatever the policies which you have already purchased or which you are planning to purchase. And even before we get into today's webinar series, with today's webinar topic, let us now look into the declarations which we normally do even before we get into the topic. Okay, coming to the declarations, right? The declarations are going to be like this, right? So here we do not represent any insurance company. Under this bi-monthly webinar series of Get More from Mallapuram, we do not represent any insurance company. At the same time, we will be discussing only topics which are related to insurance. No politics, no movies, nothing. It's only insurance, right? And at the same time, we are not intended to criticize any particular person or any particular organization or any particular product of an organization. But if at all, if it happens, it is only by chance, but we don't really intend to do that. And at the same time, the opinions which are discussed here are absolutely personal and cannot be taken in as an evidence under any court of law. Okay, I hope this is very clear. And with these declarations in place, let us now get into today's topic. And today's topic is, what are those 10 things that you should focus? The 10 things that you should focus in the Directors and Officers Liability Insurance Policy. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? If you're all ready, I request you to please type in ready in the chat box. Okay, thanks a lot. So we are here. We will be now getting into the topic, and even before we get into the topic, the agenda of the topic is going to be like this. So first we'll be doing a little bit of situation analysis, right? And after that we'll be getting into the main topic of the webinar episode, that is clarity for confidence. So this is the section wherein we'll be in detail. We'll be looking into what are those 10 things that you need to focus on while you're purchasing the Directors and Officers Liability Insurance, right? Okay, and after that we will be getting into another section called as Think Tank, where we'll also look into the real life cases which have actually happened and how the claims have been processed. And at the same time, we'll also see what are those tidbits that you need to think a lot even before arriving at a particular decision making. And we will assure you by the end of this particular topic, that is Directors and Officers Liability Insurance, you will be pretty clear on why you need to take the Directors and Officers Liability policy. At the same time, what are those things that you have to be very, very particular while you are choosing this Directors and Officers Liability Insurance coverage. Okay, and at the end we'll go with the action points which we have to take care after we go through the entire topic. Okay, so with that, are you ready? Let's now get into the first section, that is situation analysis. Okay, now when you actually look into the business environment, in what kind of companies, if you actually look into, we really like to have this Directors and Officers Liability policy. It's only the limited liability companies and also public liability companies and private limited companies. Okay, so it is limited liability, private limited, and then public limited companies. These are the three sector of companies which have to look forward for this kind of coverage. Okay, now let us also even look into how the things will happen, right? So if you actually look into a director in any insurance, in any corporate or in any manufacturing setup, okay, what exactly that he need to do? Can you please guess? what is the main role of a director in a company? Yes, it is to direct the company towards its achievement, towards its goal, towards its growth, isn't it? Right? So all that what they have to do is they need to take the decisions. They need to take which path to be taken when they are approaching a crossroad. Okay, they all need to do a qualitative analysis and a quantitative analysis even before they take any decision. But even after they have taken the decision, the results can be it could be good or it could be even worse for the organization. If it becomes worse, and because of which the company gets into any legal troubles because of the decisions taken by not just the director but also his team, because ultimately it is the director who is going to be the ultimate responsible person for all the decisions taken by the organization, right? So directors are meant to take the decisions with the risk factor involved, and if anything goes wrong, even their personal assets can be even taken off from them to pay out the liabilities. Okay, so because of which this insurance policy is more critical for all the directors who are working in different organizations. Okay, and especially in SMEs, if you look at it is mostly what we have seen, because many of the private limited companies, it is minimum 2 directors are required, and most of the situations in the SME segment, what we have seen, it is either the husband is one director and the spouse is another director. So probably one is a sleeping partner kind of person, like probably not actively involved into the business, but if any single mismanagement happens or any wrong decision happens, because of which any liability terms up, even all your wealth and assets are there on your spouse's name, even then it is attachable. So it can be attached by the court of law. Okay, so those complications are there, right? That's the reason. If you actually look into the entire business functions which are there, okay, so we have all these functions, like we have administration function, then we have customer service, then it's a distribution function, we have finance function, we have marketing, we have sales. So even the purchase function and information technology function. So all these functions in a business forms the total functions of the business. And the directors are responsible for whatever the process which the employees or even the subordinates who are actually following up your instructions. Sometimes they do even deviate from what is being directed. Even in those situations, if there is any liability which comes up, if there is any legal case which comes up onto the director, then director becomes liable. He need to pay all that claim. Okay, so it's not just these functions which are there in the business, but the people who are involved in these functionalities of the business organization, right? Those people mistakes, it's the director who need to take care. Okay, not just that. See, once he decides on the process, the people keep trying and pushing, and then they will entirely do the entire process of the organization. At the same time, there might be even the regular success, and it's a growing success which can come into the organization because of the kind of decisions which have been taken care by the director. And everything is really excellent. I repeat, everything which goes really excellent is very good until there is a claim. Okay. Once the legal claim comes up, it can erode your entire profitability of the organization in one single case. And especially it is more vulnerable if at all the liability comes up into small and medium segment companies, because their capacity to handle these kind of expenses it will be very limited. If it is very limited, then it can just erode the entire capital of the firm. Okay, and even the directors can lose their entire wealth. All these things can happen. And just to protect of all these business functions, whatever the liabilities that can turn up onto the company and onto the directors, all those things can be taken care by having the directors and officers liability insurance. Okay. Now let's see the real myths about the directors and officers liability. These were we have seen, like in many of the situations, people do think it is directors and officers liability is something which is actually for the larger organizations. This is what they think. Okay, they think it is for the larger organizations. They think it is only for the profit making companies, or somebody who is more related to the export oriented kind of business, wherein he need to deal with different clients who are there in different countries, where the liability policies is something which is mandatory, right? Okay, or it is only for the software companies. Even this myth is also there in the market. And probably somebody says we have a general liability. Do we need to really go for a directors and officers liability? General liability is for the organization. Okay, and directors and officers liability is for those directors who are part-time or full-time in the organization. Okay, and these directors can be even with some other company. So there could be an outside organization, or it could be even for the subsidiaries. Okay, so all these things, people they believe it is only for the larger corporates, but it is not. You will see why it is not the moment we reach till the end of this presentation. Okay, are you with me? Now the real section starts, wherein we will focus on those 10 things which we need to focus on the directors and officers liability policy when we are about to purchase. Okay, let's begin the discussion, right? Okay. The first thing which we have to take care is, what is that kind of coverage that your directors and officers liability policy is providing you. Okay. There are two kinds of policies which are there. There are two kinds of coverages which are there. Okay, one, it is called as claims occurrence basis. So the kind of coverage what they give us is based on the occurrence basis. Okay, well, and the second one is about a claims made basis. Okay, in a claims occurrence basis, it's like you have taken a policy for 1 year, right? And after that, even if you have not renewed the policy, but say suppose there is a liability which turns up probably 2 years down the line or 3 years down the line, but the traceability of this liability comes on to the policy period in which you have taken the policy. In the year in which you have taken the policy, then the claim becomes payable. Okay, right? And in the second type of thing, which is called as claims made basis. Okay, in a claims made basis, it is only within the policy time frame. Like if you have taken the policy consistently and you are renewing the policy consistently, whenever the liability turns up, in whichever year it is traced onto the timeline, that if it is covered under the continuation of the policy, then it is payable. Okay? It looks little confusing, right? Am I right? If it is yes, can you see an yes in the chat box? Okay. Don't get worried. So this section is all about providing the clarity such that you will have confidence. Okay, let me give you clarity on this. Are you ready? Okay, so let me just take an example here, right? In an example here, if you look into it here, so there is a timeline which we have taken. Okay, it's a timeline wherein we have given it as say 1 year, second year, the third year, and the fourth year. So we have taken 4 years as a timeline. Okay, now say suppose we have taken policy in the first year. The moment we have taken the policy in the first year, right? Okay, the coverage is there, right? But say suppose we have not renewed the policy after that first year. That means continuously the policy is not being renewed at all. Okay, and say suppose there is a claim which has arisen in third year. So in the third year, there is a claim which has come up. but which is traceable, means the event has actually happened in first year during which you have taken the policy. Okay, in the first year you have taken the policy, but what happened? The claim has actually occurred in the third year. So the liability, the claim has actually come in third year, but it is traceable to the first year. Okay, now we have, as we mentioned, we have two different kinds of coverages, that is claims occurrence basis and claims made basis. Now, if in this situation, if the claim turns up like this, then in claims occurrence basis, the cover is under claims occurrence basis, the claim is payable. Okay, say suppose if it is a claims made basis, because the policy is not in continuation, okay, though the claim is traceable to the year in which the policy has been taken, but because the continuation of the policy is not there, here in this case, the claim is not payable. The claim is not payable at all. Okay, I hope this is clear. This is clear. If it is clear, can you see a clear in the chat box? Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, now let us see a different scenario once again. Okay, in this scenario, let's take the same year, that is first year, second year, the third, the fourth. Okay, we have taken the same 4 years, right? And then we have taken the policy in the first year, right? Now, after we have taken the policy in the first year, we have continuously renewed the policy in the second and also in the third year. So first year we have taken the policy, second year we have taken the policy, third year also we have taken the policy. But in the fourth year, we have not renewed the policy. Okay, now we'll take the same example, like where there is a claim which happened in the third year. Now the moment the claim occurred in third year, and after that, but it is actually again traceable to the first year of the policy. Okay, the claim is traceable to the first year of the policy. That means some decision which has been taken by the director, which happened in first year, wherein he has taken the decision for which the liability, the case has come on to him in the third year of the policy. Right? Okay. Now, in this case, now because now currently we are in the fourth year, we have taken the policy renewal till third year. Okay. In a claims occurrence basis, when we compare with the claims made basis, where will the claim will be payable? The claim is payable in the claims occurrence basis, and the claim is not payable in the claims made basis. Why? The reason because in the current year, that's the fourth year of the of this particular entire transaction in this example, the policy is not continuously taken. Because the policy is not continuously taken, the claims made cover, we can, if we have that kind of coverage, then there is no coverage which will be given under the policy. I hope this is clear. Even though we have taken the policy for 3 years, but in the fourth year we have not taken the policy, because there is no continuation of coverage, the policy time frame is not continuous, the claim is not payable. I hope this is clear. Let us go with the third example, right? The same 4 years if we take, okay, the first year, second year, third and fourth year, the same timeline. So currently we are in the fourth year, right? And we have taken the policy in the first year. Second year we have continued taking the renewal. Third year also we have renewed the policy. Fourth year also we have renewed the policy. And we got a claim in the third year, and which is traceable to the first policy year. That's a policy purchase in the first year. What do you think in claims occurrence basis and in claims made basis? Is the claim payable? Yes, you are absolutely right. The claim is payable in both the kinds of policies. Okay. So what does that mean? So claims occurrence basis is always a superior because it gives an lifetime coverage for the directors. Okay, even if they retire, even if they are not working with the organization, probably 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, even if there is any legal claim which comes up, which is traceable to the policy period, in which year the policy has been taken, then the claim is payable. But if the claims made basis, still it is payable unless the policy is in a continuation of period, and this is actually called as retroactive date. Okay, so this is a technical term what they use. They call it as retroactive date. Means the coverage is continuous since then. I hope this is clear, right? I hope this is clear to everyone. Okay, thank you. So this is the first kind of first thing which you have to focus under any liability policies, and especially the directors and officers liability. The reason because claims occurrence basis is much superior when compared to claims made basis, and it comes only with a charge. So there is some additional premium which you have to pay, but it is worth paying that particular premium. Okay, so this is the first thing which we have to take care. The second thing which we have to take care is about AOA and AOY. This is a ratio, and don't get worried. I'm actually saying what is this in the chat box. Okay, so don't get worried. We'll help you to understand. And AOA is any one accident. That means any one event which happens during the policy term, right? And AOY is any 1 year, right? That means in one full year, how many number of events can it cover, right? And we have different types of ratios which have been there normally, which is built up into the policy. One is 1:1, the second is 1:2, the third is 1:4. I've also seen in few situations it is even 1:3. Okay, these are the different ratios which will be mentioned onto the policy. What does that mean? Okay, this means if you ask me which is actually the better one, 1:1 is always superior, because even if there is any claim which comes up, the entire aggregate limit, the entire sum assured can be used in one single claim. But if, say, suppose there is any restriction under the policy like 1:2 or 1:4, and say suppose, okay, let's see this with an example. Okay, I think that will be pretty clear for you. Let's look at an example here, right? So we have taken in premium here, coverage of 50 crores. 50 crores is the coverage which we have taken under the policy of directors and officers liability. And say suppose there is a claim of say 40 crores. That means 40 crores which includes even the defense cost, then investigation costs, and even the compensation which need to be paid to the other party by the director. We actually totally calculate that, right? It comes to say suppose in this example it comes to say 40 crores. If say suppose there is an incident of this 40 crores happening, and the AOY and AOA and AOY ratios, if you look at, okay, if it is going to be 1:1, the entire 40 crores is payable. Okay, of course, the deductibles we are not considering in this particular example. Okay, but entire 40 crores become payable. If say it is 1:2, that means one accident can be covered only up to half of the entire sum assured. Okay, so half of 50 crores is how much? 25 crores. Even though there is a claim of 40 crores, you will be paid only up to 25 crores. Okay, right? If say suppose it is 1:4, that means the entire 50 crores is being divided. That means maximum claim under one single claim can be only up to 1/4 of the sum assured. Okay, that means it comes to 12.5 crore. Okay, now you understood that you need to always go and have 1:1 as a better coverage, because it helps you to have the entire coverage in place. Normally what we have seen in directors and officers liability, there will be 2 or 3 directors in the company. The entire directors will be sued by some legal liability. Then each of them need to be paid. In that situation, the entire 1:1, the total sum assured can be utilized. Okay, in that way, we always say that 1:1 ratio of your any one accident to any 1 year is much better option when compared with 1:2 or 1:4. Okay, and here in this example, we have actually not considered the deductibles and excess which will be there under the policy, right? Okay, I hope this is clear. So this is the second thing what you have to take care while you are actually purchasing the directors and officers liability. Okay, so AOA and AOY ratio. The third thing is about the coverage. So what kind of coverage that you have? Are you going to have a worldwide coverage, or is it going to be a restricted coverage to certain countries? Okay, so we always suggest to have a worldwide coverage, probably when you're actually, especially when you're actually planning to have an export oriented kind of business growth towards your business, like you want export to countries in US or UK or Europe and even Australia. So different continents, if you want to exceed and then do your expansion of your business, then we suggest to have a worldwide coverage as a coverage under your policy. But if say suppose it is only domestic coverage what you want to have, and it is only within say in country like India, like you want to have coverage only in India, then we can actually have a restricted coverage into your policy. Okay, this is the third thing which you have to take care under your directors and officers liability policy. Coming to the fourth one. The fourth one is about the jurisdiction. Okay, and this is specifically important when you're going for a worldwide coverage. Means if say suppose the jurisdiction, there are two kinds here in the jurisdiction. Okay, so one is anywhere in the world, and the second one is restricted to a particular country. If it is anywhere in the world, that means say suppose you are dealing with a particular client in say suppose US, and you dealt with him, he found there is some fault in the contract, or they feel that they are not taken care probably, so they can actually come back to you and sue the company. When they're actually suing the company, the director who actually taken that particular contract, he will be liable under that particular case. If that is the situation, if he files a case in US, then the director need to go to US and attend the case in that country. Okay, and if the kind of coverage what you have taken is anywhere in the world, then the policy will actually cover all those expenses, the defensive cost, the investigation cost, everything as per the other country, that is in this example US. Okay, but if there is no coverage of jurisdiction anywhere in the world, but it is restricted to a specific country, then if that particular case is filed only in that specified country, then only the coverage will be given. Otherwise, the coverage will not be given. So the better one to have is to have an anywhere in the world jurisdiction, so that you can, whenever the case gets filed against the directors, your policy will still cover all those expenses. Otherwise, your defensive cost and then your investigative cost is not payable. Only your claim which need to be paid to the next party, only to that extent it is payable, right? Okay, and coming to the fifth one. The fifth one is about defense and investigation cost. Okay, by the way, in the entire directors and officers liability claims what we have seen, most of the times it is more than 50%. Sometimes up to 50% is what is only the defensive and investigation cost. And after that, probably we might even won the case, but we have actually incurred the entire losses. And because of which, we need to be very clear when we are actually trying to see the coverage of the defensive and investigation cost under the policy, whether it is restricted coverage or it is covering up to the aggregate limit. And in most of the situations, what we recommend is to have up to the aggregate limit. Okay, the expenses coverage option, okay, up to the aggregate limit, or there are few companies which give a limited coverage, but if you actually bargain on the premium, then they actually put all these limited conditions. Okay, the best condition is to have a limit of your defensive and investigation costs up to sum assured. Up to sum assured is the best. Okay, so because it's most of the cases that's the major expenses. Even if you won the case, still you will incur all those losses. Okay, right? And then coming to the sixth one, so it is EPLI cover. And this is probably the maximum number of cases which have been filed under DNO is under this cover. Okay, what does that mean? EPLI. Okay, it is employee and employment practice liability insurance. Okay, so there could be cases like racial discrimination which happened, or sexual harassment which happened, and probably ill treatment by the superiors to the juniors. Okay, all those, or even the wrongful termination of the employment. These things can file, and the most potential areas to file the claim against the company. And even if the director is not directly involved into the HR process of termination, probably because he can't say, I don't know, like what the HR people have actually done. Okay, he can't be so like that. So because he is the one who actually designed the policies of the HR, and if say anything like that happens and wrongful termination happens, and the terminated employee actually files a case against the company, the director becomes liable to pay that particular amount. Okay, right? So coverage up to the aggregate limit is the best under this, because this is the most vulnerable area, wherein maximum number of claims under the Directors and Officers Liability Policy has been filed across the world. Okay, right? So this is one cover which need to be taken care, right? And then comes the seventh one, that's about the regulatory crisis cover. In the regulatory crisis cover, see, especially the SME or the new companies which just started off, they might not have the resources in place, or the directors might not have the entire knowledge about the legalities. And probably they would have taken the support services of the secretarial services, but they might not have a full-time secretary to take care of their services or take corporate governance. If in those cases, there is always a chances that the company can have a legal crisis from the regulator. Okay, if any such thing comes up, the expenses need to have the coverage up to the aggregate limit. That is, the entire sum assured need to be covered, and there should not be any limitations under this regulatory crisis cover. Okay, it is worth paying that additional premium to have that regulatory crisis cover. Okay? And this is another area wherein the director can't say, no, I don't know, because ignorance cannot be accepted as justification under the court of law, and it becomes punishable. Okay, right? So with that, we just finished 7 things that you need to focus in purchasing the Directors and Officers Liability Policy. Coming to the eighth one. The eighth one is the discovery period. The discovery period, if you actually look into, say it is like this, like you have taken the policy for say 1 full year, and after that you have not renewed the policy. But say after a few months, there is a case against the director, and it is traceable to the decisions which have been taken during the policy term. If the discovery of the liability happens after the policy term, normally it is not covered. But we do also have the discovery period, wherein there is a 30 days discovery period which will be given. That means the claim comes within 30 days after the policy has been lapsed, right? Even then the claim becomes payable. The best thing is we need to have at least minimum 90 to 120 days. We can actually bargain with the underwriter in getting all these terms under your policy. If you need any help, we are always there. You can always give a missed call on this 7569 645 645. This is our helpline number. Me and my team will be always there to help you out in taking the right structuring of your policy for your directors who are going to take care of your company to a successful heights, wherein every one of you who is going to get a lot of profits, and you are actually protected against the downside with these liability policies. Okay? And at the same time, the required thing under this discovery period. It is only under the claims made basis, because under an occurrence basis it is covered for the lifetime. And even we do also have an additional coverages which comes up under the policies, wherein the directors are covered for lifetime. Okay, even if they retired, but this is an add-on facility what we can have, wherein the directors can be covered for the lifetime. In occurrence basis, it is by default, but in a claims made basis, if the policy is consistently, continuously being renewed without any lapse, okay, with the retroactive date effective from the first time when you have actually taken the policy, the coverage for the directors will be there for the lifetime. We can actually have that additional add-on also added to the policy. Okay, right? And coming to the ninth one, okay, the directors, as the company is actually growing, okay, that there is always a threat to the directors. There could be a kidnap of the directors, and there could be a ransom money which has been asked by the kidnappers, right? In those cases, even if you go for the settlement with the kidnappers and pay that money to the kidnappers, even those things can be covered under the policy up to the aggregate limit, or it is up to the limited coverage. The best is always have up to an aggregate limit, but generally what we have seen in the Indian market, it is actually given only to a particular extent, like probably some 20%, 25%, 30% of the sum assured, or with a maximum limit of say 5 crores. Okay, so those kind of conditions have been levied by the underwriters, but can be bargained with the underwriter in getting the right coverage, which is going to be befitting for the directors of our company. Okay, now coming to the 10th one, 10th and the last one, wherein the major thing which we need to focus is the subsidiary coverage. When we actually look into the subsidiary coverage is normally been not given as by default, but it can be taken in as an additional coverage. Okay, by default they will actually automatically give a coverage up to say 25% of the total aggregate limit, or up to 25% of the assets of your subsidiary company. Okay, but if it is going to be along with an underwriting approval, then even the subsidiary can be covered up to the maximum sum assured of your directors and officers liability. Okay, so for the entire aggregate limit, we can actually cover it. Okay, so what we suggest, even though it is an automatic kind of coverage which is inbuilt into the system in the policy, still we request you to go for an underwriting approval for the total coverage of your subsidiary. Okay, so with this we come to an end of all the top 10 things that you need to focus while you're purchasing your liability insurance. Okay, that's your directors and officers liability policy. There are also a few more the coverages which will be there, right? Those things we'll just deal with you. You need more details, we are always there. You can actually dial up on this number, that is 7569 645 645. This is the number on which me and my team, we are always there to help you out, to have clarity such that you will have confidence in whatever the policies which you have already purchased or which you are planning to purchase. Okay? Now, coming to the next section, that is about think and thank. Now, this is a place where we give a lot of food for thought for all our audiences, for all our people over here on this webinar, wherein you can actually think a lot and get the crux of these coverages. Okay, now let's see this think and thank about the live classical cases which happened in the market. Okay, and especially in the Indian market. And the first one is about the Satyam Computers case which happened, wherein it's an indirect disclosure of all the facts. Okay, especially in the accounting facts, they have actually done it. Okay, and in this accounting fraud which happened in India, not just in India, but there have been cases which have been filed against Satyam across the world. In multiple nations worldwide, they actually filed a case against the company. Okay, so and it's a classical case. There have been few million of rupees, few billion of dollars have been actually been spent on this in getting the coverage, in getting out of this particular situation. Okay, this is the classical case of in the Indian economy, right? Then we also have another classical case. There's a person by name Mr. Fanish Murthy. Fanish Murthy, there have been two cases filed against him till now under the Directors and Officers Liability. The first time when he was as a director in Infosys, okay, there have been a sexual harassment case which have been filed against him in 2003 when he was director in Infosys, and a total of 4 million US dollars. Way back in 2004, the Infosys has paid 4 million US dollars, which include a 1 million of almost the defensive cost and another 3 million as in compensation to an employee who actually filed a sexual harassment case against him. Okay, and immediately he has been asked to go away from the company. Later on, the same person, when he joined and become the president and CEO of iGate, then also there is again a second case which has been filed against him. Okay, and there was while he was in iGate, there are two employees who filed a case. In one case, almost 8 million US dollars has been paid as in compensation to that particular employee. Okay, so these are the kind of things which do happen, like wherein your entire wealth, your entire assets can be attested and liquidated to pay that particular liability. Okay, so things can happen and you'll have no control on it. Why all those things? We do also have another case which we have seen. I hope we all know about Mr. Premji, right? So there is something. There's a unit called Premji Invest, which actually invested. I've taken 10% of shareholding in a retailer called Subiksha. Retailer. They have actually taken 10% of the stakeholder. And then when they have actually purchased that stake, it's Mr. Renuka Ramnath. Renuka Ramnath was the managing director of the Subiksha. And it is been found that the accounts which have been presented to Premji Invest is actually been very wrong, and because of which the company has to pay around 230 or 450 crores of amount to Premji Invest. Okay, and this has been paid by the insurance company. Okay, right. And at the same time, we do also have, I think we all know Ms. Sushmita Sen, who was our beauty pageant and Miss World, Miss Universe, right? Okay, so she had actually tie up with Coca-Cola on their promotion of Thumbs Up brand. Okay, and even 1 year before the contract has been terminated, even though they have a time, they actually cancelled that particular contract. And though they were actually saying because the solicitor of Sushmita has not replied on the real timelines, but they actually did it. But the resources says that probably there is a sexual harassment case because of which they have actually paid off almost 1.45 crores to Ms. Sushmita Sen to just keep quiet, and the contract has been terminated. And we really don't know whether it is a sexual harassment or not, but whatever the news that we see on the net, because of which we get to know about this. Okay, right? These kind of cases which do happen. In 2015, there was another case which happened. This is the SEBI, the regulator of the stock exchange, has actually imposed almost 72.69 billion rupees. That means almost 1.5 billion US dollars. They have actually imposed onto the property developer called PACL on 4 of its directors for not complying with the rules in selling the investment products to the public. So it takes a huge amount of time, money, and resources to actually invest into a company, to grow the company, and to take a company to a particular level. But it can take only one single case which can just wipe off the entire profitability of the organization and also the directors. Okay, so that's the reason it is very much mandatory. It is very much mandatory to have this Directors and Officers liability. Okay, everything looks excellent for all the directors while they are taking through the different modes, the different directions, the different decisions to take the company to a proper heights, right? But all these things is good only until there is any legal claim. Okay, the legal claim comes up, entire thing is just washed up, right? Okay, and just to have the protection. See, most of the people, they do think like why it is required. So see, I'll tell you small things which can even impact a lot onto especially the SME kind of segments, right? Okay, like the things like the most vulnerable points, like the check bounce. A company has given its vendor a check, and the check has been bounced, and your vendor can actually come back to you and sue your company. If it is sued, then it's the directors who need to pay from their wealth, their assets. They have to liquidate their assets and they have to pay it to that particular vendor. Okay, a simple check bounce can also even lead to a liability, right? At the same time, even when an organization is trying to downsize and they have to remove the employees from the organization, there could be somebody would have even felt like, no, it's a wrongful termination of the employment. They can sue against the company. Then the directors need to just go around the legal court and then get the settlements done. Even in a situation wherein we are trying to merge two different companies, or we're trying to acquire another company, or trying to merge our company to another company, right? In those situations also, the liabilities of the next company will be owned by us. Okay, and without our knowledge, those liabilities come on to us. Even in those conditions, the directors and officers liability policy will become your savior, right? And the sexual harassment cases and these cases are most vulnerable. And even the startups, just startup cases, because those people might not be having the real good information on the legalities, on the legislative structures which they have to take care, right? Then there could be a regulatory crisis which can come onto the company. Even before they become a growing company, they might be completely vanished. So all these things can happen. Okay, so what is that we want? Now you need any assistant, under this. We are always there. You can scan this QR code, or you can also even dial up this helpline number. It is 7569 645 645. Me and my team, we are always there to help you out in actually having a customized directors and officers liability policy which will protect you and your company from any of the legal liabilities which can turn up, especially when you are actually growing, right? There will be a lot of spotlights, there will be a lot of competitors who might also even provoke your vendors or your clients to put up a case onto you. Okay, all these things can be handled effectively when you have the defense mechanism, that is your directors and officers liability, and no need to think twice, or no need to even be on a back foot in actually doing a growth strategy for your company, right? Okay, so with that we come to the next section, so we request each of you to please protect your business, protect your organization. It is what you who have actually started this, and its growth is your responsibility, right? And coming to the action points, though we have n number of things that we need to take care, like a lot of things for the people who start the company, for the directors, for the managing directors, for the CEOs of the company, right? Though there are a lot of things that you still need to take care. The first thing what you can do is, please check your employment practices, because your employment practices is the most vulnerable part of the entire organization structure, wherein there could be many legal liability cases which can come. And we have seen the entire past history also says that most of the directors and officers liability cases have come through this situation. Okay, please check through your employment practices and review your exposure with your legal advisor. What is the exposure that you have towards your suppliers, towards your channel partners, or your sales partners, and towards your employees, and towards your competitors, towards the regulator? What is the exposure that you have? Have proper corporate governance in place. Have your secretarial services outsourced. Don't do everything by yourself. You need to have the specialized person who can actually give the specialized advice, such that you can be with a peace of mind. You can focus on the growth on which you are actually trying to do the entire process on day in and day out in your business, right? And discuss with your insurance specialist. You have one, call him up on a breakfast, call him up on a lunch or a dinner, and then discuss about your legal exposures and the risk what you might even get from the environment in which you are working. If it need to be covered, yes, take an advice and then have it covered under your directors and officers liability. You need any help, if you doesn't have a person who can actually help you out with a proper knowledge and with a proper knowledge of even handling the claims in this particular segment, please do refer us. So we are always here. You can dial up this number 7569 645 645. We'll be always there to help you out. You can also even take this QR code which is mentioned over here, right? You can take a snapshot of this, right? And then there will be a page which will turn up. You just enter your name and your mobile number and the reason for which you are actually asking for an advice from us. Me and my team will revert back to you within 24 hours, and then we'll try to help you out with our professional service, wherein we always say we are with you, and our unique selling proposition is all about the claims processing support. Okay, and so coming back to the action points. So after you discuss with your insurance specialist, get the right coverages for an accelerated growth of your business, right? So we wish and all the best, and an accelerated growth, a breakthrough growth for all of you in your organizations, and have a wonderful growing prosperity, and not just for your organization, for your employees, but also for yourself on a personal front. Okay, so with that we have come to an end. You need any assistance, we are always here. You can take a snapshot of this particular QR code, okay, or you can also dial up this number 7569 645 645. We'll be out there to help you out. Okay, with that we come to an end of today's topic on the bi-monthly webinar series of Get More from Mallapuram. These 10 things you need to focus while you're purchasing the Directors and Officers Liability Insurance. Okay, and with that we thank you, and we want to see you back again on this webinar series. So on coming next second Saturday, you can always come back to us. We'll come back with a new topic. With that, thanks a lot. Keep coming back, keep supporting us, and thank you.